Okay, today we are doing page 233, 234, titled Writing Decimals as Fractions. Writing decimals as fractions. So we're going to go ahead and look at the yellow box at the top to start with and read through our facts. The first one, it says, since decimals are another way to write fractions, decimals can be written as fractions. We're going to look at how to do that. We learned yesterday, the first number we have here is 0.1. We learned how to read that. That's 1/10. And if we see here, it's showing 0.1 equals 1 over 10. And think about it. If the first one here is read 1/10, of course that equals 1 over 10, 1/10. Just like we see here, their second example, 23, remember the last number being the 3, so we read this 23 hundredths, and the fraction would be 23 over 100. The last one, 0.476, we'd read that 476, remember the third place value is thousandths, 476 thousandths. So when we put that in a fraction, it'd be 476 over 1,000. 476 thousandths. Number 2, to write a tenth as a fraction, place it over 10. And that would be like the example up here that we did. And they show us one here, 0.3, which is 3/10. You'd write it 3 over 10. To write a hundredth of a fraction, place it over 100, just like here. And our example on this one, 31 hundredths, that'd be the same as 31 over 100. To write a thousandth as a fraction, place it over 1,000. And they show us that example here, as well as there. Fact number 5 tells us a good rule to remember when writing decimals as fractions is to write as many zeros in the denominator as decimal places in the decimal. So what they're saying is there are 1, 2, I didn't mark it well, but you have your 4 and 1, that's 2 places. So you're going to have 2 zeros. Just like here at the bottom we have 1, 2, 3, there's 3 places. So you're going to have 3 zeros in your denominator. Okay, let's go ahead and look at number 1 on our problems here. And our directions tell us we need to write equal in the blank if the fraction and decimal are equal. And we write not equal if they're not equal. So 1a, we have 4/10, 0.4, 4/10. And then we have the fraction 4/10. So obviously, for that one, we need to write equal. B, we have 0.1. When we read that, it's read 1/10. And we have 1 over 10. Again, 1/10, 1/10 equals. C, 71 hundredths is how we read the first side. And it says 71 over 10. This does not equal. D, 68 hundredths. And 68 over 100, that's 68 hundredths. This does equal. E, 581 thousandths. And then 581 thousandths, that one equals as well. F, 6/10 and 6 hundredths. They do not equal. G, 93 hundredths. And 93 over 100, 93 hundredths. That does equal. H, 141 thousandths. 141 thousandths. This does equal. So it looks like the only ones that did not equal is C and F. Down at 2, our directions say write each decimal as a fraction. So 2a, it's 7/10 is how we read that. So we need to write it as 7/10. Write it neater than I do. You have more space to work with. I'm squeezed in here. B, it's read as 51/100. 51/100. 51/100. C, 323 thousandths. 323 thousandths. D, 9/10. E, 49/100. F. Hey, before I do F, I want to remind you of earlier, the fifth rule talked about for every number you have, so we have 1, 2, 3 numbers there. That's how many zeros you're going to have in your denominator. So we'll have 1, 2, 3. And this is read 157 thousandths. So 157 on top and thousandths. G, 3/10. H, 21/100. Number 3 on 234. I've got the answers kind of blurry up on the screen here. And you can start filling them in. We're filling in our place value names. And we're used to our ones and our tens and our hundreds and our 1,000s, 10,000s, 100,000s. We're used to all those. And then our 1,000,000s. And what's newer to us is where our decimal is here and what comes to the right of the decimal. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Go ahead and write those down. You guys are so good at math. You guys are so good at math. Write all those down. You guys are so good at math. Get them all written. You guys are so good at math. You guys are so good at math. You might have to finish them later if you didn't finish them now. And you'll be able to get that done. But I want to look at 4 and do that with you guys, and I'll have you do the rest on your own. 4 says to write the number of figures for these words. Write the number figures for these words. So in 4a, it says 643 and 7/10. Remember the word and, when you see that, that's where your decimal is going to be. So first we're going to be writing 643 and 7/10. So your and is your decimal, and there's your 7. So that's 4a, 643 and 7/10. 4b is 3,400 and, so we know our 3,400, our and is our decimal, 11 hundredths. 11. 3,411 hundredths. And then C says 15 and 3 hundredths. 15, the and. Now we don't just write 3, it's 3 hundredths. So we have to write 0, 3 because our 3 needs to be in our hundredths place. That's 2 over from the decimal. Go ahead and do the rest on your own.